Welcome to episode 23 of the White Whale Marketing Podcast. I'm Chris, and as always, we're doing this in collaboration with the Sport Marketeer, as you can see here. The Sport Marketeer is a newsletter that we curated at White Whale Marketing that covers the latest topics and news related to sports marketing. And today I have AJ here with us on the stream. There he is. AJ, nice sweater. I love it. Crew
Yeah,
neck.
I was gonna put the hat on, but I didn't want to match it too much.
Why not, man? Support the brand. I'm all for it. Anyways, yeah. So today, and I guess going forward as well, we're just gonna try different things out. Um, have a different format. So last week we streamed Warzone while trying to cover different topics related to the sport marketeer. That was a little difficult, trying to get out of the gulag and have all these conversations related to sports marketing. And then this week we're gonna do it in regards to AJ and I reacting to the CPL draft, which happened about an hour and a half ago. So with that, I think we just get started. We're just going to be watching it. Obviously, for copyright reasons, we're not going to be able to put the draft screen on our stream, but maybe you'll be able to hear it in the background. I'll have it playing so you can have an idea of what's going on, and then obviously we'll comment on it, and at the same time we'll also just talk about different topics because there's a bunch of things that have been going on and articles I still haven't been able to read yet. So with that, let's just get started. Let me just pull it up.
Let me know when you press play because I got it at 17:42, and I have mine muted so I can just watch along as well.
What time did you say to start it? 17:42?
17:40, I'm on exactly. It should show the screen of all the teams in order of how they're drafting.
Okay. Oh, so it's an hour long. We won't go an hour, but
yeah, a lot of it at the end is just discussing some stuff, but it doesn't go all the way. A lot of interviews with the coaches, which we can definitely skip, but
yep,
we'll play it by ear.
17:40. Okay, I'm at 17:41. I'm on the PlayStation.
Okay.
But let me know and I'll turn it on.
Good to go. Start
3,
whenever.
2, 1.
Well, keeping it simple. As I mentioned, Atletico Ottawa are on the clock, so let's go out to the nation's capital.
I think you can kind of hear that in the background now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that should be fine. That's obviously the CPL stream available via YouTube. Fernando, my old boss. That's funny to see. Let's see who goes first.
Thanks, KJ, and have a good day, everybody. We have someone very special delivering.
Is he Spanish?
Yeah, he's in Madrid. He works for the Real or Atletico Madrid.
In the 2022 CPL draft, Atletico Ottawa selects.
So obviously, if you're watching it or listening it at home, Atletico Ottawa went first. They had João Felix of Atletico Madrid announce it, and they drafted a Portuguese center back.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'm Portuguese, so I got to support that. I'm all for that pick. That's good stuff. Curious that they didn't go for some Carleton guys because I noticed mock drafts as well as just having local universities with a lot of talent. That was interesting, but what are your thoughts?
Well, what we see, I mean, obviously someone that's playing in U Sports, well, retired now, officially retired, but there's a lot of the past few years they've done local players for a lot of the teams. Mm-hmm. So, we see in previous years like Halifax Wanderers, although he was German in their first, pretty sure it was in their first pick, they chose Peter Schalla, the German center back, but he was playing in Cape Breton, right? I think what we do see is they choose a lot of, ingrown. I wouldn't say ingrown because they're not always playing within their, if they have the youth academies, but we see a lot of the time that they pick people that they are more familiar with. So it's definitely easier to try and scout someone that's in your area. I know Pacific, a lot of the time, they always draft people from the BC region. And it's surprising because Carleton, they were a top 2 team this year. They came second place in U Sports. So I'm surprised not more players from Carleton were considered for Ottawa. But I mean, we'll see. Maybe the second round.
Yeah. No, it's definitely interesting. Even just from more of like a marketing standpoint, right? Where you even go for like the Senators, right? They always had a little bit of a theme at times to try to get the local talent if they could, right? Whether it was, Cody Cece. What was the guy's name when I was a kid? I think Corey Locke was the guy. I think he was with the 67s as well, kind of went up through the ranks. And then obviously guys like that, they always try to bring home, right? Where, Pajot played across the river, Abramov played across the river, just different things like that. And that's always kind of interesting because, maybe you also have a tie and more of a will for them to play for the club. But
I think what they're doing with it is they're replicating how it is in Europe as well. I mean, obviously you have the bias with hockey. This is my forte, soccer, but I think they are replicating how they do it because in European and soccer, instead of doing a draft, they do academies, right? They promote their academies and they can give them full contracts for their academy teams. And I think having the homegrown talent, like players from that region, we see it with teams. Their academy becomes marketing for them. So for example, like Manchester United, having guys in the game that they played yesterday, Mason Greenwood, Anthony Alanga, and Marcus Rashford, 3 players that were from the academy, and then they score 3 goals in the game. It's just they market themselves, right? They rise through the ranks, they play for the top team, and I think that's sort of what the CPL is trying to replicate here, bringing people in from their own area.
Yeah, it's interesting. I find it's like a little bit of a mix, right, between North American sport as well as European soccer. We're trying to develop talent and so on and so forth. But one thing that I don't understand, maybe you can explain this because obviously you're more the soccer buff, and you're also working for a soccer agency now. How does it work? Because I saw the other day Mateo De Bruyne, which I knew when he was at Atletico. He had a great performance at U Sports this year. Apparently, he was maybe someone in discussions where people are asking, "Hey, did Atletico ever talk to you?" But then he ends up just signing with Valor like a day or two ago, right before the draft. So could like other clubs just be like, "Hey, first overall pick, we're gonna sign you," rather than letting Atletico just draft you?
If I'm 100% sure,
Okay,
what they can do is I think anyone was able to just pick them up because I don't think Mateo submitted for the draft. I think that's one thing that is distinguishable when it comes to signing players around this time. It's not like they have a transfer market. I'm fairly certain they can sign whenever, any CPL team. But Mateo, I'm fairly certain, didn't submit for the draft because I knew because there was speculation about interest from CPL teams, or at least from Valor, I know that. So maybe they necessarily didn't want to draft him because, I know he's only a first-year player, or at least he has 1 year of eligibility, but maybe he just wanted to sign a pro contract and not continue university, because the way the CPL works is you can have, obviously, this as well. They do, obviously, you can draft from, universities. You can also draft professional. So people that go through the draft or through the university pathway is what they call it. They can sign a collegiate, I believe it's called collegiate contract. Correct me if I'm wrong, any viewers listening. I'm just, saying what I think. A collegiate pathway, it's a collegiate contract where they sign a contract to play during the season for the team and train throughout them with the team. But then once university starts up again, they return to that team.
You know what? That does make sense because when I was, working at Atletico, I think the third, I don't know what you call it in soccer. From football, third string goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He was at Laval, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then obviously he was with during the season. I think I even asked him I think there may have been another guy. I think maybe AJ Cabra. I think he kind of got drafted in like 2019. And I asked him how it worked. And I think basically they're allowed playing right during the season and they would just go back to school afterwards.
Yeah, there's quite a few that do that. I know, obviously I'm biased from being out on the East Coast right now, but we played against Peter Schala. And then that same season he got drafted to the Wanderers. That spring and that summer, he played for the Wanderers, returned a little bit late. And then, once the season with the Wanderers was done in the summer, he went back to Cape Breton and played his final U Sports season with Cape Breton. So there's that way. But what I think is that Mateo, rather than going for the collegiate route, instead of just going, I want to play and go to university, possibly he signed just a professional contract. So I'm not 100% sure what the details of the contract are there, but I mean, you can have a look now. It looks like Edmonton are.
I was just going to switch the graphic here. Just might as well get ahead of ourselves.
Worse.
This is an OPSM guy, no? AJ,
yeah, he's an OPSM athlete. He works with an agency in Ottawa, and he plays for Cape Breton, or depending on how it works out with Edmonton. He was a He's a striker for Cape Breton this year. Had an amazing season. Obviously, my team's played against him. Unfortunately, he did score against my team. Hate to say it.
AJ, are you gonna be on this highlight reel that I'm watching right now on the TV?
Oh no, I didn't play. I didn't play that game. No, it was horrible. It was homecoming under the lights. I mean, to be fair, it was late in the game, and some of our guys were gassed because it was a really close game. But he scored 19 goals in 15.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, it'll show the goal, I think.
The Santa FX one, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But
no, it should show that one. That one went in, and then there's another one against us, I believe. He scored 2 against us, actually. So, you know how it is. But he, I scored 19 goals in 15 games this season for Cape Breton. Cape Breton won the AUS championship, and they came 3rd in U Sports. So, I mean, that's a solid pick for Edmonton. He's a young guy. He's only a second year at Cape Breton, and
so was he 19, 20?
I believe he's 19 or 20. I'm not 100%
Wow.
sure. I mean, he had a great season. He was an all-star. I believe he was an all-star for U Sports as well, and top goal scorer in the AUS. And that's a good pick. So, I mean, I like this style of draft, and I like this that they choose players from university levels because it gives an opportunity for a lot of the young talent. I believe KJ is going to talk about that more. That you'll be able to hear. Listeners, we'll chat about it a little more. Basically, it's the positives and the benefits of bringing in such young talent and Canadian talent as well. I think that's going to be really big. We're only 3 or 4 years into the CPL now. I think
this is going to be 4.
2019 was the first season.
Yeah,
the year before COVID. So I mean, only 3 years into the CPL, and
this is going to be 4th.
This is going to be this is going to be the 4th season coming up. So I mean, the fact that they already have talent like this, and guys coming into these professional teams in Canada, it's going to be good for the national team. That's something that maybe people haven't really focused on.
Mm-hmm.
You get guys that these guys are top quality, and a few players in the CPL have been selected for national camps. So
yeah, it's kind of interesting. Just watching here now with the Halifax pick. One thing too that's kind of interesting is just how the CPL announced another club with obviously Vancouver a couple of weeks ago, but then now Windsor as well. Yeah. And when I was in Halifax, right, in the fall sometime, it's interesting to see how different markets take on, these different teams, right, considering the sizes. Obviously, Halifax isn't the biggest city in Canada, but I forget where it was in Halifax. That school where they filmed Mr. D? You would know this because you're there.
I mean, I'm 2 hours outside. I think it was SMU or Dal, one or the other.
Yeah, but it's close to there, right?
Yeah.
And essentially, do you know where the Wanderers office is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was looking around that area. I think that's where all the students are, Dalhousie, etc. And they properly branded and showcasing themselves as Halifax's team, right? Where they have banners everywhere. It seems like one of the hot tickets in town. I was even asking, when I was going around, I was asking people at bars or even a taxi driver about it, right? And everyone kind of knew who they were. Where, considering I worked at Atletico Ottawa, and then also now that I live here as well, not too many people seem to know about it when I asked, considering or compared to when I was in Halifax. But obviously there's it's a way different city, and there's different competitors here, right? Where there's I was gonna say 67s, but the Mooseheads are there too. But yeah,
I think it's massive. They had a fall through of getting a CFL team. I know they were looking Halifax were going to get the Halifax Schooners. Yeah. So
man, I'm out of it.
I think the issue is that there isn't really a top team or a top professional league team in Halifax.
Yeah. Well, the Mooseheads are essentially the Mooseheads is top end. I went to a game or two when I was there.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's they always have a really good talent, but they're also it seems like the hot ticket in town, right? Where AJ, what's that street with all the bars?
Barrington.
Yeah, Barrington. What's the not Upper Water, where the Dome is?
Oh, I don't know the street.
Anyways, you know that street.
I know the area.
But those bars, we'd be talking to people, and they're like, "Hey, you have to get into the bar or the restaurant, whatever you're doing, before the hockey game gets out." Right?
Yeah.
But it's impressive though, considering how big of a draw the Mooseheads were. Halifax is able to carve themselves a little niche there as well. Curious how these other clubs go, right? Where I know Toronto kind of struggles, and I know York is a little different because they kind of brand themselves as a little bit out. But
You might want to throw the next graphic up for the fourth.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Good name here on that third guy though, Christopher. I kind of like that name.
Great name, huh?
Yeah.
But
Do you know
there's,
any of these guys? Let's keep
this guy.
right. That's 3 or 4.
This is pick 4. He's another OPSM athlete.
Nice.
He's a very good midfielder. He had a very good season. Assistant captain for the team, I think. And obviously, when a team wins a provincial championship, they've got a very good a chance of being drafted. So, I mean, another solid pick. You'll see everyone in this draft is just definitely the best in their area and the best in their position in that area.
Provincial championship, or you mean conference?
Conference and provincial for us, it's basically the same thing. Like we
That's
just call
only the Nova Scotia.
Well, we all just call it provincial, even though there is New Brunswick and Newfoundland and PEI. Everyone just calls it provincial. But yeah, the conference championship, New Brunswick,
AUS,
PEI, Scotia, and New Brunswick.
AUS?
Yeah, AUS, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, Cape Breton won AUS this year. So, a lot of their players get picked up in the draft just because, the talent on that team is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what we were saying about Halifax, right, is they've got it like perfectly set up because they've got you've got a team in the winter. You got the Mooseheads to bring all the sports fans, even from anywhere in Nova Scotia, right? People will travel down to Halifax to watch because there's not many professional sports teams out here. So you got the Mooseheads in the winter, and you've got you move on and you go in the summertime, in the springtime, and you've got the Wanderers to watch. He doesn't have Instagram.
He doesn't. Oh, I was gonna strike one. I was like, you know what? Let's start looking into some of these guys.
Yeah.
Okay, what was another guy that went? Because obviously we're in marketing, so let's see how these guys do in regards to.
It's Dacunia, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think there might be a DE at the beginning.
Really?
Yeah. If I can remember correctly.
Did the league not tag them?
I'm not sure.
That's one that I would do, right? Just getting like some tags or get these guys some followers, get some likes.
I think he's tagged, or is it just Cape Breton that's tagged, or Athletico?
Let me just expand this. Yeah, just Athletico, unless maybe he doesn't have.
Yeah, the third caption there, you can.
So he has
Cairo, yeah.
Okay, York's going now, but we'll catch up. How's this? 1,200. Okay.
For
that's pretty good engagement though. What is that? That's like 400. 400 divided by 12. That's over 30%. Oh, so this guy's getting some nice engagement. Yeah. This guy's OPSM, no?
Yeah.
I would post more. That's interesting. Oh, this is the guy you're saying that scored a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. What do you remember what the third Christopher? How could I forget?
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm sure he's tagged if he has one. Wasn't there a goalkeeper that was supposed to go pretty early?
I don't think so.
No? Well, maybe it's just another blog I clicked that was wrong. Okay. Let's see.
Oh no.
So there's a lot of.
Scroll through the comments, maybe.
You think they would tag him?
Possibly. A lot of people, I know that they did that with the Cairo one. There we go. Scarborough Academy.
Yeah, well, that's another strike right there. You gotta be private. I saw that with like junior hockey guys too, and I think there's been some that I've just always kind of researching and checking it out, and there's some that are they like have merchandise or they're trying to push something, and then they're private, right? You either want to be a public figure or you don't, right? So, or you want to capitalize on your brand. So let's just shorten this up. What pick are we on? York?
Yeah. Should be there we go.
So
see, it's we were talking about like Christian Rossi, he's from BC, but then gets drafted out to York. So it's pretty interesting, like surprising he didn't go with a local talent. York were they just missed out on the finals this year, just missed out on the top 8, but surprising they didn't go for a local talent. There's a lot of good players. I know Jaden Vilfort, Ottawa native, who moved to York. he was projected to go pretty high, but I mean, you never know with these mock drafts.
Yeah, it's
What's the-
interesting that his last post doesn't show that the analytics. Usually it
It's
doesn't.
because it's multiple, I think.
I think that's no. I don't think that's an issue. Anyway,
Cavalry has made their pick.
that's something that of interest too. Where that's something where not maybe necessarily soccer sure, but more so in regards to youth sports as a whole, right? I think there's a pretty big need, right? Even when you're just comparing like nil opportunities compared to obviously youth sports and NCAA, and obviously Canada's always been able to market their athletes that are in collegiate sport, but obviously you got to make some type of impact, right? And maybe even brand the game a bit differently, or even just maybe if you increase the status of these athletes, then that would increase the status of the game and kind of going on from there, right? But it's pretty interesting to look at where, as I said earlier before we got on, I was looking for a graphic quickly to, make for our post today. And I went to Carleton because it seemed like Carleton had a few guys that were probably going to get drafted. And then I think they posted once this season, their team, and they've had 12 posts in like 4 years or 3 years where, you can only do so much. And like eventually, if you want to grow your game, you got to do something about it. But it's interesting to go from there. Are we on the right pick here?
Let's see. Yeah.
We'll do again soon because the draft's a little We'll do like a live stream of maybe once Champions League gets a little deeper, or I'm not doing Super Bowl. Super Bowl I'll have plans, but maybe like a basic NFL game or something like that, or a playoff game. But no, it's pretty interesting.
One thing that I didn't want to talk about is are we going to discuss the Felix announcement for Atletico? What does that mean from a marketing perspective, right?
I didn't even
one of the top players on a top team in the world. For Atletico, what do you think that means?
I think it helps a lot, right? And I think Atletico obviously leverages it considering their offices, right? And it's connected back to Atletico Madrid, and they go back in the winter. I think they've done it a few times already. I think with their new kit, they may even done like a sponsorship, if I'm not mistaken, where they're like TikToks or Reels. They'll get like some guys from Madrid, right? And especially when they were there training, I think they got a couple of stuff for the season. But I liked it. I think like I was looking at it earlier. I think within like the first 11 minutes, they had like 120 engagements, if I'm not mistaken. So that's really good, especially for the size of a club in the CPL. But obviously, like the analytics, obviously. Are impacted due to the popularity of like João Felix, right? It's one of the biggest players in Europe.
I think a big thing for it as well. I think we're on the next slide here.
Am I on the wrong one? No, it's on Forge now. Okay,
there we go. Should be now, I think. What time are you at? I might be a little delayed. I had to pause.
I'm at 38:42. What do you think of it, the João Felix announcement?
See, that's what I was going to touch on. Like, I think it's massive for Atletico because obviously you look at people nowadays and everyone knows, and especially people that are in marketing know, let's say retention, I'd say more attention rates. It's hard to keep people interested for long.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that, it's the first announcement, it's the first round, first pick, and then you bring in someone like João Felix, right? I don't know. João. Wow.
João.
I'll say Felix. I'm not.
Oh, wait, say it again. How'd you say it?
I said Yao at first.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't know. I can't these Portuguese names.
Even before the stream, what was the name you said? Anyway.
Oh, I said Jose.
Yeah, we're Mexican now apparently.
What I was, I think it's really important because it's the first pick. People see this right away, and even for the fan base, and people that are fans of Atletico or fans of European soccer that aren't necessarily fans of CPL soccer, they're going to see that all over Instagram. Anytime a professional athlete, does a endorsement or does something like along the lines of what Felix has done, people are going to see it. And people that aren't necessarily fans of the CPL are going to see it, and they're going to see, okay, well, I'm a fan of European soccer, but I haven't really gotten into CPL soccer. What team should I sort of support? They're going to look at the team with something familiar. So I think it's really important and really well done. It's something short. It doesn't take a lot of production, doesn't take a lot of marketing budget, but I mean, they've done very well. And it's going to be really beneficial for Atletico in terms of getting new fans to their very young club. Obviously, a lot of the other teams didn't really have a monopoly on the whole fan base because it's still a very new league. But I mean, you can't blame them for doing that, and it hopefully it works out.
Yeah, no, and on top of like just what you're saying, like it doesn't cost a lot. That's like they leverage it, right? Where they have access to these top end. Where I'm sure if I were to run the numbers, like that social value that he would provide on that is immense, right? And even just kind of going back to that, let me just go back to this first pick now if I can find him before we move on to the second round picks. Yeah, I'm on an old Mac because I'm not at my setup right now, so it's going a little slower. But let's just get back to the first one here.
And I think you got that night shift on too.
Oh, I always have the night shift on. Can you note it? Does it show it through?
Yeah, it's yellowy. That's all.
Fun fact: when you have 8 concussions, or you had 8 concussions, the night shift is a key.
Oh, I always have it on.
Where? Tell me if you see his Instagram, or unless he doesn't have one.
Keep going.
No.
So
imagine if you're this guy, right? João Felix does your announcement. Here, let's see if we can find his announcement.
It should just be on Atletico's page. So they're tagged.
I posted it too.
Did
I'm sure the CPL posted it.
Yeah. Right. I mean, already 1,308 likes already. Not even just views.
Let's go to Atletico's. Let me close this window. What's Atletico at? Oh, so they're about the same.
They're both around the same.
Is he tagged?
Oh, it's a collaboration post.
So that's what it is.
Yeah.
See, I'm online, so I can't notice that. But see what I mean? The reason why I'm going back to this post, this is what I'm talking about sometimes with athletes, and I'm not saying like this player in specific, but we even talked about it when Seattle, the Kraken, right, when they got announced for their selection draft or whatever they call it, expansion draft. Yeah. Those are missed opportunities, right? Where, imagine if this guy, what's his name again? Jose, right? I forgot. He has an Instagram. João Felix announces you're Portuguese as well. All your family will be sharing that. All your friends, anyone that probably ever known you back in Portugal is probably sharing it. I don't know if he's actually from Portugal. It's just his.
Yeah, he is.
He is? Okay. And you know what I mean? That would go nuts. And even here in Canada, right? People would be like, hey, like, I know who João Felix is. This guy must be pretty important, right? And the opportunities that would come from that, right? And half the battle, or the majority of the battle sometimes in marketing is just being, is it timely and is it relevant, right? So he was relevant. I'm not saying that he's not going to be, but this is,
this is time.
Exactly, and that's the whole thing that we were talking about in regards to maximizing your time under the spotlight. But hey, fair enough, to each their own, and definitely something that definitely needs some improvement, right? Where these posts don't get too many. Like the other thing I was going to say as well is, at White Whale Marketing, right, we have a lot of meetings happening, and sometimes it seems like we're starting to get certain categories, more companies to reach out than we have athletes. So now I'm starting to look at it again. Okay, hey, now I'm feeling a little more comfortable that we have a tested process that's working to get into the specific categories that we want for athletes. That, hey, you know what? It's time to maybe expand the athlete roster. And when I'm now starting to look at it, those are things I'm kind of looking at, right? Have they been able to, be timely and relevant? Hey, are they do they have the drive themselves, right, to like brand themselves or market themselves? Because it's hard to pull a donkey up a hill if he doesn't want to go, right? So, not to say athletes are donkeys, but I heard that saying in I don't know what language. But yeah.
You can skip forward to 47-50. They go on a little break here at the end of the first round.
Okay, 47.50. And
Can
if someone's watching, if someone's commenting, I know these streams for the podcast don't get as many views, but I think the ones when we watch a game or the gaming ones, those ones tend to do better. So maybe we'll start looking at that more. There's Fernando again on the screen.
See, like maybe next week you'll see on the White Whale marketing stream, you might see, yours truly playing FIFA. You don't even know, maybe.
FIFA, yeah, maybe. I know I got my little cousin. She, she's a teenager. Teenagers know what's hot, what's going on right now, what games to be played. So I asked her, I'm like, hey, what game should I be aware of? And she gave me a list of like 10 to 12 that some of them 10 of them I don't even know what they are. I probably know 2.
Wow.
So, maybe we're going to try those ones out, see what's hot, because maybe we'll be at the beginning of the trend. We'll be teaching other people's in the space, or even other athletes, hey, this is what, the kids want. That's what that's going to be trending in the near future, right? With Musical.ly, TikTok, whatever. I know she was on it 3-4 years ago, right? So something to consider, and maybe we'll do a little FIFA, we'll do Madden, we'll mix things up, and then maybe every second week we'll do a game that people our age don't know about.
Let's see here. Did Fernando go? Oh, not yet.
I have him going already.
Here we go. I got him.
I'm at 49-16.
Yeah.
No, but it's interesting. I wonder if they're, because that's both of their picks. Both of their picks are European. I'm wondering if the scouting staff at Atletico, right? Because they use the ones from Madrid, if I'm not mistaken. If they see potential, or hey, maybe not that they go Atletico Madrid, but maybe they see an opportunity in the future to send them to Atletico San Luis or something else, right?
I think what they're even potentially doing with their picks both being non-Canadian is a big issue with scouting and a big issue with recruiting players in top professional leagues is, can they actually play? And the difficult time is, can these athletes actually get a chance to play?
Yeah.
So, for example, like if Julian here, if he decided to stay, I believe it's France. Yeah, if he decided to stay in France and play for, possibly a 3rd division, a 4th division French team, would he get the same exposure as he would at a team like this? Obviously the league and the grassroots leagues there are massive. But I think playing at, Atletico and playing in the CPL with that connection to Atletico gives Atletico a chance to see all the Atletico Ottawa players getting consistent minutes, in an up and rising league that's getting a lot of media coverage, that's getting a lot of fan coverage, and can, that way they can probably assess a little easier whether or not to bring them off to Europe.
Yeah. I don't know if they would necessarily go to Europe. I think definitely the purpose and the model of the CPL is to develop Canadian talent, right? Get eyes on the game. But then the actual business and how they, become sustainable is by having these young Canadian talent, then moving on to, big clubs in Europe, right? Something like similar to Alphonso Davies. Once he went from the Whitecaps to Munich, I was like, oh, okay, like maybe we got to pay attention more. Where, I know when I was a kid, I was always going to, 67s or Hall Olympic games to watch like the next up and coming prospects, right? I've seen like John Tavares, Chris Letang. I don't think I saw Luongo. I think it was maybe young. Marc-Andre Fleury, I think I've seen. Like Crosby, Nathan McKinnon. I went to go see all those guys. And that's maybe the same type of model they should look for, right? Because at the end of the day, I've even spoken to some athletes, right, when we're just like even like way back, understanding like, hey, how does this all work? And some of them, right, they're talking to different CPL clubs. And I think the interest in some of the younger players are signing long-term deals, so then they can then send them to sell them to Europe, right? Because then that's how they make money. That's how they get a return on their investment, right? But then that's the thing where some guys are like, no, like I want to control my destiny. So maybe with, drafting them, developing them, maybe signing them a little earlier, right? Maybe like the Senators did with Drake Batherson, as I'm a Sens fan, and I don't know what the ending is yet, But
We hope it's good.
yeah, probably not. But
Nova Scotia native right there, Mr. Batherson.
which one? What pick? I missed a couple of picks.
Next, you're on the next one.
Twin?
They already picked him. Now Stephen Hart from the Wanderers is going for their second pick.
Okay.
Colin Vander. There we go.
Needs a little haircut.
Yes.
Maybe a little partnership with some gel.
There you go.
Good hair though, better hair than me, but still.
I think you just got to embrace the bald look soon. You know, the straight buzz cut.
Me? Wait, what'd you say? Embrace the what?
Embrace the bald look soon. You know.
Oh, I'm not that. I'm nowhere there yet. Relax, buddy. I was buzzed for 2 years and I grew it back. I've been, buddy thinks I'm bald. No, I have hair. I just always wear hats, and I gotta support the brand. Unfortunately, the shop is down, or not down. We turned it off for a bit because we're focused on other areas, and once we have, a little more interest, and we got more of a bigger product line, then we'll bring it back. But let's keep a little exclusivity, build some hype behind it too. Make people want the whale a bit more. Make people earn the whale, I guess, right?
You want the whale. You want the whale.
You want the whale.
Comfiest hoodie of your own.
Yeah. The crew necks are actually, that's a crew neck, no?
The hoodie.
The hoodie.
I'm more of a hoodie guy.
Send you a crew neck? I thought I sent you a crew neck.
No, originally I said crew neck, but then I was like, you know what? I'll stick to the black.
The crew necks, I feel bad because we're talking about this. People are going to be watching this. Hopefully when someone watches this in 2 years, it'll be up again. But the crew neck's top notch. I like the crew neck better than the hoodie. And then the raincoat's top notch too.
Which one?
The raincoat.
Oh, yeah. That's the one I was going to look at next. That raincoat does look clean.
Oh, you wanted a raincoat? You should have told me.
That's all right. Okay.
Harald got a raincoat.
Oh, he did? Oh, I didn't know that.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil. That's what my dad always said.
Wise man.
He's in Vancouver, though. He needs it for the rain.
Yeah, he needs it. Nova Scotia is, raining too, literally all
Nova
the time.
Scotia? Look, not to hate on Nova Scotia. Great little spot. It's kind of gloomy, no?
All the time. Literally all the time. One more, I think we got like 1 day of sun yesterday, and for the past 2 weeks, it's just been, cloudy and rainy and snow.
See, we've had blue skies and negative 23 in Ottawa.
See, we get gloomy and 5-10 degrees. That's the difference.
I'll take mine all day long. I went skating. I skated the whole canal after work, made some tacos, got ready for this, watched the Sens game. Can't complain.
You can't complain.
Yeah, but we'll finish this up soon. There's a couple more picks?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, right? Let's say we're talking to, you have some access to these new players at OPSM right now that you're working as a marketing coordinator at a soccer agency or sports agency. If you were to give them advice, or if you were to send them to White Whale Marketing, right, to get some work done, what's the first thing? You'd be like, hey, this is number one.
I think, obviously being with White Whale, grateful for the opportunity over the past year, almost year, a few months, 8 months now, 9 months, something like that. And then now joining this new company, I think you have to be very careful, and especially some of these guys, because not all of them end up playing for the team.
Yeah.
They get signed to the contract, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to play or even be at the club for long. So I think what's really important for these guys is, if I'm talking to Jacob right now, focus on the football. I think that's going to be really important for players because, we like to talk as marketers. We like to talk about a lot of the behind the scenes and
It's gone full sports management agency.
It's focus on the football for now. But then, once you start playing well, you're getting regular minutes, you become a fan favorite. And we've seen that in the CPL already with a bunch of players. We've seen that with Kyle Becker. We've seen that with, Peter Shaw at the Wanderers. I can name a bunch of others, Malcolm Shaw. And I think it's important because you build up the fan reputation. Players, people that start saying stuff like that. Obviously, you probably know them personally, but people build up their expectations. People build up their likeness, their liking for the player.
Likability.
No,
likeness, likability, either or.
Yeah. They build up how much they actually like these players and, they like them on the field. And then it develops a reputation for how you are as a player. And then from there, that's when you can, hey, I'm going to take a step back. I want to start marketing myself. I want to start branding myself. Or even some of these guys, I want to make my own company. I want to do something that I'm passionate for as well as soccer. And then, that's where other companies like White Whale comes in and, gives them tips. And that's from there. They continue focusing on the football. You make the fans happy. Fans are all a part of sport. And you keep your game going. But at the same time, you can start building your personal brand. You can start building your actual company if you want. We look at like Neymar, for example. He didn't have a personal brand when he joined Barcelona from Santos. Messi didn't have a personal brand when he signed from New Old Boys to Barcelona. Even Ronaldo didn't have his own brand when he signed from Sporting or Man U. But it takes time and it takes a lot to build up your reputation. But then once you become top talent, then you can move forward with however approach you want to go.
And this is when I disagree. AJ is full sports management agency now, but I am, sports marketeer, as I say. Another plug. Let's get that going. We'll bring that back up. Sport Marketeer comes out tomorrow. Check it out. We got some good topics. And we'll touch on a few things before we leave regarding tomorrow's newsletter. But this is why I disagree. So I completely understand, right? Yeah, you got to focus on the soccer because without one, you don't necessarily have the other. But, and this is what and we made a post this week because, I was having some meetings. We're like, you know what? Here we go here. I had a personal brand. White Whale Marketing initially was called Nessamento Marketing. As you can see, my name here. It was my personal brand. I started it when I was in third year, maybe
20
university.
19 or 20?
No, 21 because I went to CEGEP. I'm from Quebec. Or I went to school. Yeah, I'm from Quebec is what it is. I was going to say I went to school there. But so I started that, right? Just a student, right? I didn't have a platform. People didn't know who I was, X, Y, Z. Here's another pick, 6 over in the second round. I started this personal brand. No one knows me, right? Initially, it was just me posting pictures so I could have a keepsake of my career, right? Hey, I don't know. What year would it be? I don't even know what year it was. Hey, January, blah, blah, blah. My first networking event. Hey, like I started working for this hockey scouting app. And I got to go to 67's games for free. I was talking to Carolina and the Flyer scouts and, trying to sell our product X, Y, Z, different kind of moments, right? And then from there, I graduated, kind of start building on that. I kind of had to start building more of a curiosity, right? Website comes along, blog, etc. People are starting to follow it a bit more now because, hey, I don't know how to get into sports. I don't know how to get into sports marketing. And this guy's kind of showing me the way, right? That was my brand. That was my niche. It's like, hey, sports marketing, this is my career, follow along, right? So let's say this Marcus athlete that got drafted by Calgary, he's a student, and let's say he's an, I don't know, engineering student, and he's playing for Calgary. You don't need to just build a personal brand because, hey, I'm Marcus, I'm the soccer player. No, you can still build a brand that, hey, I'm Marcus, the soccer player, but I'm also, studying engineering, or I'm an engineer. And you can start building it from there. And what ended up happening with me, next pick, one thing led to another. I was starting to get my own sponsorships. I developed it. It was growing. We got it to, I think it was over 900 before we rebranded, or over 1,000, or I don't even know what it was. But a decent amount of followers, right? For just no offense, more than some of these guys. No, it means to make jabs. Like that's just being factual, right? Just a student who's a marketing student versus someone who's an athlete is just showing that the potential you do have that you're lacking, right? And I'm a pretty blunt guy, so I will say that. And right, right, AJ, is that wrong?
You are correct.
If a marketing student can do it, why is someone who who's joining a club that has a bunch of fans, who has marketing dollars behind them trying to push a product, you should be way outdoing me, right? Or outdoing anyone who's doing their own personal brand related to cereal marketing, Chris's hats, right? But that's the thing, you need to have the will, and that's the thing I was saying, right? Where one of the things I look for is they're a drive. Are they already kind of looking to build their brand on their own? If they're not, like I said, you can't pull a donkey up a hill, not easily, if they don't want to go. So, yeah, something to consider. And
I
that's
think
one
it'd
of
be,
the yeah, go
I
ahead.
think it'd be interesting, like, if we're looking at, Muhammad here, and he's now got the platform, right? He's got the backing of being in the spotlight. If he does end up playing for Forge, he's got the platform to, he could start, building his own personal brand now. And every time he gets tagged by Forge in a post of him training or at a game, that's when he starts building the brand even more. He starts, well, his personal brand even more, which I think, I
Yeah,
think,
agreed. But like, let's go worst case scenario. Mohammed never plays for Forge. But what did we talk about not too long ago? Time and relevancy, right? He's in the spotlight right now. What are you gonna do with it, right? You're gonna be like, hey guys, I just joined Forge, check it out, and start building off that attraction. Or you're gonna be like, nope, I'm not touching it. All right, and that's where you start like seeing the fork in the road. What are you gonna do? And yeah, look, I understand your career here is becoming a soccer player. I've talked to agents in different sports about things, and we have our agreements, we have our disagreements regarding some things, and at the end of the day, if you break your leg, what's going to be there, right? Oh, Reese is just a soccer player, but he can't play soccer anymore.
what's
What
there, what's left.
what's there? Oh, you know what? No one cares about Reese anymore because he doesn't have any more value. That's what it's all about. It's always
Hey,
about
what
some
we
type of
talked
value
about?
exchange.
I think we've spoken about this on probably the past 4 podcasts. Is what's next, right? You can say what's next, what's left.
Take it away, AJ. Let's hear it.
What happens if he tears his ACL? Just like you're saying, right? Okay, well, what's next for Reese? Where do you go from there? Now that even if he doesn't end up playing, what can he do from those steps on to build the brand? I think it's an interesting question. It's an important question. Like, how do athletes, that do, don't end up playing for these teams? What do they do next? I think if you work with White Whale, that's what you find out.
Yeah, you find out maybe a little bluntly sometimes, but hey, at least you find out. No, I completely agree, and that's something that you can find out in tomorrow's newsletter, right? The Sport Marketeer. Check it out. It'll be out in the afternoon usually. If you subscribe, it goes directly to your inbox. And there's always different topics we're going to touch on. One of the other things that I'll be writing about and that I feel pretty passionately about, and it's going to be something I'm going to look to build on for 2022 for White Whale Marketing, is educating not only brands but also athletes on their worth, right? Because it goes hand in hand. If athletes are accepting sponsorship deals for $30, but their value is $500 or $3,000, there's an issue here because you're devaluing yourself and you're setting the market at a lower rate. So that's definitely something that needs to be educated, and something will hopefully White Whale Marketing can provide. Got some ideas. Not going to touch on them yet. It's on the big whiteboard of one of the things I need to do tomorrow to build up before we're doing some more outreach. But yeah, that's definitely one of the aspects. And in tomorrow's article, what I'm also going to talk about is worth, because that's the biggest thing. We reached out to nope, not going to say that. So that, but how do I say this? We're talking to this brand, pretty good brand is what I'll say. Like, I was on a call with my parents earlier. I'm like, hey, do you know this brand? They're like, yeah. If my parents know about the brand, it's a pretty big one. And when we reach out to them, they're like, hey, yeah, we're interested. They loved our initial cold email, and then they're like, yeah, just fill out this form. Form. Okay, that's not as personable. Fine, fair enough. I click on the form because I'm going to be the one filling it out because I'm the one that's leading all of the athlete marketing charge here.
The big man.
Yeah, and then basically the key metric that they're looking at is followers, and I think this is where you start seeing the difference, I would say, between an athlete doing it themselves, maybe even with an agent, and where I'm talking to agents as well to start partnering with agencies to help them out because let's be honest, and agents will be the first to admit this as well. They're not marketing experts, right? They have experts in getting contracts, maybe even helping you with player development, right, and setting up the right people. But they're not marketing savvy. So with that, by seeing the metrics that they're interested in, just followers, I'm confident enough, or I question it. I'm like, hey guys, this doesn't work. Like the value right here is bringing more than just the followers, right? I'm not just going to be like, hey, this is player A. I'm bringing him to you or them, she, whatever, to you. And then you do whatever you want. And all you need to know is they have 1 million followers. And they're like, okay, cool. We don't care about anything else. But because we have that confidence and we have that knowledge of what's actually valuable, we can then go, hey, as I did in the email, hey, we want to talk to you because we think these players would be of alignment because of X, Y, Z. These are their numbers. And from there, a perfect example would be, and these are real numbers I've actually found. An influencer had 30,000 followers, and then they had a post with 100 likes. The social value, $92 for that post. Then a athlete is what I'll say. An athlete, 3,000 followers, and some of these CPL guys, they don't get up to this extent, but there are good examples for this as well, where this one that I'm thinking of had 3,000 followers, 1,500 likes, and their social value was like 1443 or something. So within the 1400s. So a tenth of the following, but 14x the social value, right? So that's when you need to know, hey, like you need to know your numbers, you need to know what your worth is, and kind of pushing it. So if the brand's like, hey, like, oh no, you don't have over 20,000 followers, no, we'll like give you a free thing, and maybe you actually have to pay part of it. That's when the struggle happens, and that's when the real value comes with a full-blown sports marketing team. So, yeah, Reese, well, we still have Reese on the thing here. If you're interested in getting a sponsorship that's related to brands of interest, let us know.
Yeah, and I'll say one more thing. We're at the end of the draft now, and it's all wrapped up. But I think based on what you're saying there, the old cliche, can't judge a book by its cover. Yeah. Can't see an Instagram account with 3,000 followers versus an account with 100,000 followers, and say automatically that $100,000 followers is worth more than the one with 3,000, because you have to read, you have to see what's behind below the surface and see actually the real figures, the impressions, engagement, everything, what's going on behind that follower account, and that's
100%. And like the numbers sometimes are interesting, right? Where sometimes even the engagements can be fairly high, but the sentiment on that post is negative, right? So brands don't want to be connecting themselves to something negative. So there's all these different variables to be, to look for. And, one of the last things I'll touch on, because this is something you can read more about in tomorrow's article. And I don't remember the last topic off the top of my head, but that's why you're going to read it tomorrow. Is, I don't even know what I was saying. What were we talking about?
Value and followers and
yeah. The last thing I'll say, another upsell, little selling point for White Whale Marketing, a little tap on our brand's back, our team's back, is there are meetings, right? I do think athletes provide a lot of value, and they're a great asset in partnerships, right? And they can be very beneficial for brands. But sometimes too, right? If you're just saying, hey, I'm an athlete, work with me, some brands are going to be willing to do so. But others, right, we're finding out in these a good amount of meetings that we've been having in 2022, what they're interested in is, hey, like we need something more than someone just saying, hey, like use this, right? They actually want some type of strategy where they actually have an understanding of the athlete and their audience and so on and so forth, right? So that's where the real value, I think, kind of kicks in, and you're almost, pulling them along or, selling them more on the athlete just from the ideas and strategies that come along with, working with the marketing team. But yeah, that's what we have. Hopefully with 2022, we got a little more stories. This White Whale Marketing podcast, it's going to be shifting as we go on. It's going to be more conversation based. It's about things going on. Today, we're actually pushing the agenda for CPL draft, but next week we'll just, have a couple of us watching someone stream and then just chatting about whatever, because we didn't even get to talk about any of the topics I wanted to, like, the Super Bowl commercial for, the halftime show, or I think there's news about Lululemon, Microsoft, all these different things that we'll chat about next week. But AJ, anything else?
That's it from me for tonight.
Well, that's it. Thank you for listening to episode 23 of the White Whale Marketing Podcast. As always, it's in collaboration with the Sport Marketeer. You can click the link in the bio. there's a link to our Substack where you can then subscribe to the newsletter, get sent directly to your inbox, and maybe you'll learn something, or you can add something regarding to sports marketing, or even send up some tips or maybe even topics to look into. We'd love to do that and always keep on learning. So appreciate it, and see you guys next week.